Far into the desert. An ancient mirror reflects a world living in the shadow of Hyrule. A veil of twilight hangs over the descendants of those who committed crimes against the gods. There is no escape from this peaceful place. But then again, the secret cannot be kept out of the light forever. What is the command structure for those wielding power? How did Zant get to the light world? Could the Mirror of Twilight still exist? I am Moxie, and this is Heavy Speculation. In an excellent video by Nintendo Black Crisis, linked in the description below, he explains in full detail the mechanisms, designs, and architecture of Arbiter's grounds. I highly recommend watching his video before continuing to watch this one, as I was inspired by the fundamental concepts he brought to light in his video. I also recommend watching my theory about the blessing and the curse of magic, linked right now in the upper right hand corner. Both of these videos will help establish a better understanding of the concepts covered in this theory. With that being said, the following theories will definitely be more crackpot. As per the title of the series, sometimes there won't be a ton of evidence. However, I feel like the Zelda community needs more speculation to add to the conversations around these games. If you like Zelda lore, consider subscribing to the channel. It's free and it helps a ton. Let's jump right in. The interlopers were a group of powerful magic wielders. They attempted to establish control over the sacred realm. The goddesses ordered the light spirits to banish the interlopers. Arbiter's grounds is where the banishment took place. Quote, "The Gerudo have left the kingdom of Hyrule after losing their leader Ganondorf. Within the desert now stands an execution ground governed by the kingdom." Something that is not well established in the Zelda canon is the hierarchy of power. According to a post from a now deleted Reddit account, the order could go something like this. The golden goddesses would be the highest power. Hylia would come next. Then, the dragons, the four giants, and the light spirits, important officials reporting to both Hylia and the goddesses directly. The sages would be the next level. The titty chickens should be considered in the hierarchy as the architects of the goddesses, making physical structures by their order. I imagine the goddesses can make orders at any level. There is evidence of this considering the goddesses directly ordered the light spirits to intervene. The goddesses also gave the sages a direct order to guard the Mirror of Twilight since ancient times. Ganondorf led a band of thieves to invade Hyrule, attempting to establish control over the sacred realm. This could be interpreted to mean Ganondorf led the interlopers in the pursuit of the Triforce. He is renowned for his use of evil magic throughout the series. The goddesses then ordered the three light spirits to intervene, sealing away the magic the interlopers had mastered. The goddesses forbade the Twilight from returning to the world of light. Ganondorf was brought to face justice, but by some cruel stroke of luck, he was saved by Din's power. Quote, "By some divine prank, he too had been blessed with the chosen power of the gods. He easily overpowers the Sage of Water, boiling over with the power of the goddesses." Ganondorf clearly has more authority here. The sages rightfully panic and open the gate to the Twilight Realm. Quote, "A good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed next week." It was a quick fix. How much could he possibly be capable of in there? Hyrule was about to find out. A very sad Twilight pouts about not getting their throne, crying out to the gods with seemingly no answer. But then, he hears something. Maybe his prayers have been answered. And they were. Quote, "I was denied the power befitting our ruler, It was then, in the thrall of hatred and despair, that I turned my eyes to the heavens and found a god. Zant was given access to the Triforce of Power, which gave him authority over the light spirits. In a Zelda dungeon forum, Jin asserts, with this unfathomable power, Zant has the freedom to enter the light world, because he has no authority to stop him. He was able to shatter the Mirror of Twilight into 4 shards, but not break the mirror. How was Zant able to travel to the light world? It is never shown in game or confirmed in Hyrule Historia or the Encyclopedia. Midna is able to make portals at the end of dungeons. They just teleport back to the entrance. There are portals all over Hyrule where the Twilight Beasts must be defeated to convert the portals. This allows Midna to take advantage of the portals that are already made to be able to warp throughout Hyrule. This is likely because Zant made these portals in order to wreak havoc on Hyrule. These were his entrances into the light world. Jin adds the portals looking traditionally more Twilight, and Midna's ability to use them could mean that they were created through Twilight magic, but amplified by the Triforce. Zant's ability to travel freely, breaking the Mirror of Twilight into 4 pieces, and his authority over the light spirits clearly displays the capacity of the power that Ganondorf holds. It is important to note that the mirror shards are located in incredibly hard to reach and peculiar locations. The first one is in Snow Peak Ruins. This is easily explained because there is a portal leading to this location, meaning it was likely opened to place the Mirror of Twilight in this abandoned location. The second piece is found in the Temple of Time. I have a theory about the Temple of Time linked in the description below. One of my theories asserts that Link is in Raru's Temple of Light, in the heart of the Sacred Realm. This raises some questions. How would Zant get into the Temple of Time? Especially since the Master Sword was used as a sort of key to 1. Get to the past, and 2. Unlock the entrance to the Sacred Realm. The third piece is in the City in the Sky. This is extremely puzzling. Why is the shard here in the City of the Sky? There are no portals and no evidence shown of how Zant may have arrived at this location. How did Zant get here? In Nintendo Black Crisis' video, he draws many architectural connections between the Palace of Twilight and the City in the Sky. What does it mean, though? He could have somehow teleported to this location, but this is also unlikely because there's no red portal remnants left behind in the City in the Sky. He would have to have knowledge of it. One could argue since Ganondorf is now part of him, they can exchange information. We almost certainly know he's been here, given Argarok is cursed with some kind of Twilight magic. So again, how did Zant get here? We'll come back to this. Quote, though the goddesses forbade us to return to the world of light, they left one link between light and darkness. 2 serpents appear on the back of the Mirror of Twilight. On a lot of the artwork, there are 2 serpent-like carvings on the doors in the logo. There is a Triforce engraved on it as well. The heads of the serpents are facing outward, as if guarding the Triforce. While I was in Okinawa years ago, I kept seeing 2 dogs or lions at the entrance of almost everywhere I went. They were at the end of driveways, in restaurants, and almost every storefront or place of business. Little statues would be placed above doorways. They are called Shisa. They are a very common and distinctive trait of the culture of Okinawa Islands, according to Kenpai Japan's website. One closed-mouthed female is supposed to keep the good spirits in, and one open-mouthed male is supposed to scare the evil spirits away. This is something worth mentioning, as it could be a way for the ZONAI to denote locations in Hyrule for keeping in good spirits or scaring away bad spirits. Nintendo Black Crisis asserts that it was the goddesses themselves that made the mirror. It is the only path to the Twilight Realm. The goddesses ordered the sages to guard the mirror. This kinda debunks the idea that there is a second mirror. They left behind the mirror as a gateway should the need ever arise. Listen to this.
Remember that Ganondorf was the one who gave Zant the power to overthrow the Twilight Monarchy and invade Hyrule, so he may have been the one who broke the mirror, but it wasn't his own power. And if it was Ganondorf's magic that destroyed it, it explains how an object created by the gods could be broken. Going further, perhaps this dark power was used to curse the mirror shards, since once again, this is Ganondorf we're talking about. At the very least, it's something to think about.
And think about it, I did. In my theory about magic in Hyrule, I propose that Ganondorf wished for ultimate power, and that all the red energy belongs to him from this point on in the series. If Ganondorf has ultimate power, this explains so much. It explains how he gave Zant the power to shatter the mirror made by the goddesses. It gives him the freedom to travel back in time, enter the Sacred Realm, and get to the city in the sky without a portal. Ultimate power. Zant can do whatever he wants, and he does. This rock does not look very important at first glance. When the Mirror of Twilight shines on it, a white design illuminates the stone. This is reminiscent of the Gate of Time for a few reasons. When activating the Gate of Time, it lights up white. This is because Link uses the Force stored within the Master Sword. One of the conclusions I came to was that Force is light itself, and is the most powerful of all the energies. This energy is what gives Link the power to deliver the Skyward Strike, and is also one of the things that makes the Master Sword so powerful. If the mirror was made by all three goddesses, then the gate to the Twilight Realm would run on Force energy. The second reason why the Mirror of Twilight is reminiscent of the Gate of Time is the way the portals look when activated. They both are receding tunnels composed of layered circles. They both bear a Triforce at the center of the portal. While they are obviously very different, both are divine in nature. Everything with association to the goddesses is fueled by Force. Since Zelda is Hylia reincarnated, it would make sense that the royal family had a hand in constructing Arbiter's grounds around this mirror. Nintendo Black Crisis' idea of the mirror being moved later cannot be discounted. With the help of the Oka, this place was likely constructed for courtroom proceedings. The Scimitar of Twilight also has the same elaborate embellishments on the sword, which have a striking resemblance to the engravings on the back of the Mirror of Twilight. It also glows with this bluish-white color. The design in the center is reminiscent of the Sky era. In Skyward Sword, Link must complete the trials given by the goddesses. The way he appears in the realm, as well as the circle at the entrance of the trial, are both bluish-white. Another object worth mentioning is what Link uses to seal away demise. When glowing, the color is a pale bluish-white. Will match the color of the sword when charged. If the mirror was left here by the goddesses, perhaps the portal rock is merely a surface which to project the portal effectively by those wishing to use the mirror. However, I'm more interested in the patterns that are projected. To me, the Triforce being present and the patterns being very clearly white point to being powered by Force. Light is divine in nature. They share similar decorative qualities with the Twilight Realm. Presumably, the mirror and this rock were the last place the interlopers saw before they were banished from the world of light. The Twilight Realm is a domain of shadows inhabited by the descendants of interlopers, who were banished for trying to establish control over the sacred realm. Link is only able to explore a small amount of the Twilight Realm, with more floating rocks off in the distance. The Twilight have distinctive patterns on their chests, signifying clans. They also rarely speak and prefer to primarily communicate with other Twilight. This is all speculation. However, I imagine the Palace of Twilight being either a place of worship or a capital building where the Twilight convene. It is likely the latter, since there are only a select few who appear at the palace. Quote, though they lost their most powerful magic abilities, the Twilight still possess some magical power, and the strongest of them can even teleport. The clan leaders likely have the ability to teleport to the palace, to participate in council meetings. There is evidence to support this as well, given Zant was not chosen to rule the realm, and Midna was. This was likely by the vote of a council, but the idea that a monarch decides cannot be dismissed either. Quote, they maintain a monarchy much like those in Hyrule, and their leaders are those generally with the strongest magical power. Their strongest leader is chosen, and the fused shadow is passed down to them. Quote, the ancient magic of the Twilight is sealed within the magic stone known as the fused shadow. After it is divided by the light spirits, 3 pieces are placed under the care of Faron, Eldon, and Lineru. Together, the pieces take the shape of a face and grant extraordinary power. This magic is dangerous, and the sorcerers wielding it nearly succeeded in their efforts to establish dominion over the sacred realm. All the soul energy has been smothered out of Hyrule out of fear. The collective magic of the Twilight sealed in one place. The Twilight culture was likely framed around a yearning for the light world and acceptance of where they're at. I speculate much of their architecture and design is based on what they remember from the Mirror Chamber, as this is a significant event for the formation of their entire culture. The crest of the Twilight also seems to look like a symbol for the mirror. This supports the claim that their culture is built around their shared trauma. The Twilight are trapped behind a one-way door that only opens to seal away more people. It's a sad but peaceful existence. Zant's plight seems more reasonable given the understanding of the history of his ancestors. Allowing the Twilight back into the light world could be a risk, as they may have a grudge against their captors. It is possible that there is a second mirror. There are so few other possibilities. If the Oga had a hand in constructing Arbiter's grounds, and possibly the Mirror of Twilight, then they could have made more than one. There is evidence of this in Four Swords Adventures. This takes place in the same timeline. Quote, long ago, a dark tribe invaded Hyrule. They were defeated and imprisoned within the mirror. The tribe's mirror prison was then secreted away, hidden in the forest temple to sever its connection to the world. Sounds too coincidental, and way too familiar. This place is literally in the clouds. The Twilight Realm exists in more than one timeline. The Interloper War takes place after the events of Skyward Sword and before Minish Cap. This is an absolute fact. This was brought to my attention while watching the ZONAI documentary by Nintendo Black Crisis, which will be linked in the description below. Since there is no confirmed placement on the timeline, this could explain why Zelda mentions Twilight when speaking to the champions. There are 2 other timelines where the mirror still exists, and there is evidence in Breath of the Wild. This structure on the beach is only readable by one person that we know of. This text has not even been deciphered by any theorists simply because there's not enough information. My belief is the existence of this statue is meant as a representation of a way to pass down the lore of the interlopers. This immediately caught the attention of so many Zelda veterans, because it was meant to remind the players of the Mirror of Twilight. There is no way that they were able to track down everyone with this magic. Some people probably swore secrecy to protect themselves or their family. The village would want a way to feel connected to their ancestors, and may have constructed a mirror-like structure based on the legend, and scattered them to teach the younger members of the tribe their history. Over time, the teachings may have been lost. The Sheikah have also been outcasts of Hyrule. They are devoted to the royal family. Some of the magic the Sheikah used to preserve themselves may have been soul energy. We know that they've experimented with it before. Also consider they may feel some obligation to bring truth to light, leading Link to discover this place. If this were true, then the Sheikah may possess some magical abilities. You didn't think I was done, did you? There is evidence of an alliance that exists between these tribes. The Sheikah eye is a prominent symbol for the Sheikah tribe. It appears in some puzzling locations. It is on the back of the fused shadow. It is displayed proudly in the throne room of the Twilight Realm. Zelda or Hylia herself may be in on it too, since the Twilight robe features the symbol. The Twilight could have assisted with the construction of the mirror, as the Scimitar of Twilight and the throne room all have these snakes, clearly hinting at a connection. Though, as Nintendo Black Crisis points out, the Twilight have nothing to gain from making the very thing that they're imprisoned by. It is possible the Twilight assisted in the construction of the Gate of Time, though. The only possible evidence for this claim is the green energy in the Gate of Time. Or so I thought. Upon recording this cutscene, Charlie, my partner, spotted this on Midna's royal garments.
Does that bitch have the Gate of Time on her dress?
The Gate of Time. Hidden in plain sight. All of this green energy is connected somehow. I know it. This rabbit hole goes so deep. Quote, "Long, long ago the people of the world were filled with piety, and the land knew many years of peace. Before long, however, conflict began to arise in the sacred realm, called Hyrule. People began to appear that were proficient with magic, and they attempted to control the sacred realm with their powers. The gods dispatched 4 light spirits who sealed the usurper's magic into the fused shadows. Then, they banished the offenders to the Twilight Realm using the Mirror of Twilight, so that way they could never be able to return to the light world. The Sacred Realm is called Hyrule because at the end of Skyward Sword, the Triforce exists in this reality. Where did the Triforce come from? It came from the Sacred Realm. The Sacred Realm is literally wherever the Triforce exists. And this is where Rauru would return the Triforce later, sometime prior to the events of Ocarina of Time. I previously believed the Silent Realm and the Sacred Realm to be the same place, given their visual similarities. These people who appeared who were proficient with magic may have appeared from the Silent Realm. The Silent Realm is where Link participates in the trials for the goddesses. Notice the blue particles in the air. Now, in the Tears of the Kingdom trailer, there is a shot showing blue particles floating through the air. However, this place looks dark and spooky. Prior to A Link to the Past, the Seven Sages seal Ganon in the Dark World, formerly the Sacred Realm. Keep in mind, the Sacred Realm is anywhere the Triforce exists. The light spirits were broken down into tiers Link must collect. Tears of the Kingdom. What if it is the collective tears of each of the races in the kingdom? These are what Link must collect, there being 8 of them. Korok, Rito, Zora, Gorons, Hylians, Gerudo, Sheikah, and the ZONAI, being the final tier. Tears of the Kingdom. The entire kingdom. Quote, Ganondorf was sent to the Twilight Realm. There, the Demon King granted the ambitious Zant magical powers and began plotting to unite the Light World and the Twilight Realm into a single world known as the Dark World. I believe there is a strong possibility there will be a Dark World in Tears of the Kingdom, given these hints in the trailer. Something to be mentioned in my research is that Midna is able to shatter the Mirror of Twilight. If Ganondorf's power is only strong enough to break it into 4 pieces, what does Midna being able to break the mirror mean? I could be wrong about all of this. There could be truth in some, if not all of this evidence. Who really knows? These are all legends anyway, right? That means the lore is all up for grabs. Loosen up out there. I might get some details wrong. I have a lot of people helping me do my research. Looking at you, Javier. I only say these things to encourage our community and our many other favorite creators to really speculate. Together, this rabbit hole could go a whole lot deeper. I am currently crafting another theory, and I would love to hear your thoughts about Midna's powers in the comments. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share the channel with other Zelda nerds out there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.